Welcome to this episode of DIY3DTech.com. In this episode, we're going to do a rapid design episode where I'm going to show you how I designed this, a stand for my new Dell Inspiron laptop. So tell you what, let's go ahead and let's jump into the computer, see how it's done, watch a time lapse, then meet back here at the bench. Okay, we're now in the computer, so let's go ahead and set up our base stand design. So what I'm going to do is bring a cylinder in here, place it on the work plane. Now I've already got the work plane set to 300 by 300 as you see here, and then I've already got my ruler pulled out from up here, so I'm all set up here. So what I'm going to do is now hit my basic size. So I'm going to go 355. Now this is going to be a little bit larger than my work plane, but that's okay. We're going to narrow this down a little bit, and then we're going to go 254 here. So this is going to be the basic size. Now this is going to be a little bit oblong, and I want to kick the sides up because I want to go up on sides. So it's nice and neat, and then what I'm going to do is take a look at this a little bit, make sure I got everything sort of right, and then I'm going to slide this over. I'm going to do Control C, Control V to copy it on the keyboard. Now what I need to do is knock this down, so I want 5 millimeters on each side, so that means I got to take 10 off of each side. So I'm going to make this 244, and then I'm going to make this 345, and I'm going to turn this into a hole now. So I just saved myself a little bit of effort, and then what I'm going to do is take a look at this. I want to make this a little bit taller, so I'm just going to pull this up height wise a little bit and then kind of bring these two together. Use my favorite tool of the align function just to kind of align all these guys, and now you kind of see I have this all together. I'm going to move this more back so onto my work plane and then deselect it. I'm going to also select the hole. I'm going to push it down a little bit. I'm going to highlight these, and then I'm going to bring them together in a join, and boom, now I've got the basis of my stand. Now one of the pieces here, as you recall, I made this about 355, I did make it 355 tall by I believe 254. So what I'm going to now do is half this, and so because what I want to do is cut this in half, because I only need half of it. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to bring in a box, and then what I'm going to do is bring up the calculator because I'm a little bit rusty in the math off the top of my head. So 355 divided by 2, so I'm 177.5. So let's go ahead and make this 177.5, and then we have this here, so this is going to be half now. So we're going to make this 254 wide because we wanted the width of the box. Actually, I'm going to kick this up a little bit more to 260, just so I overlap a little bit. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to again highlight this. I'm going to go to align. I want to get it centered, and I want to get it bottom, and there I am. So I want to just make sure everything is copacetic here, and I think it is. So I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to join this, and it should cut my base in half. So now here I've got the base that I'm going to work with. I'm only at 20. I want to take this up to 50 now that I've got my base structure in place, and so this is going to form my stand. So now the next thing I need to do is I'm going to kind of move this off to the side, is I'm going to bring in a box. Now the box I'm going to make 329 wide. I'm going to make this 223 tall, and I'm going to make this 14.2 high. Now this is basically my computer now. Or the base of my computer. So I'm going to move this back in, and I'm going to twist this around, and then what I'm going to do is I want to raise this up a little bit, and then you see the The rotate here, I'm going to rotate this to a 30-degree angle. Now I need to move my mouse out to get my precision, so I'm going to go 30 degrees, and now I have my 30-degree angle. Now what I'm going to need to do is lift this up a little bit, and I'm going to just nudge this ever so slightly forward. And so what this is going to do is kind of show me how my computer is going to sit in here and how much of the computer is going to contact what of this. So again, depending upon the taper that you want to have on your computer, this is where you'll set it. So I want a 30 degree taper or angle on the computer, and you can kind of see how it's going to set in the box or set on the stand. So now what I'm going to do is just kind of go highlight all this. I'm going to do this center just to kind of get everything clean. And you want to leave a fair amount of material back down here. Now we'll deal with all this in a little bit, so we can kind of see how it's going to sit. Now the pieces, maybe we want to go a little bit higher, maybe we want a little bit more contact. So I've got this at 50. So let's go ahead. If I turn this up to 70, you notice the contact on the back here is going to increase. So I'll have more sitting on the back. So I think I'm actually going to keep it at 70 for right now. And then we'll probably do some adjustments on this later, because I want a little bit more surface area on this. And I still keep it at the 30 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to join this to knock this out. Now the piece is I have these, which is a lot of material just kind of sticking in the middle of nowhere. So what I want to do is, again, I want to bring another block out here, and then I want to again make this block about 260, because I'm going to now start taking out some material, and I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to make this 260. So I've got my width, and let's zoom back out a little bit, and let's turn our workspace a little bit. And now here I'm just going to kind of play with this a little bit to see how much material I want to take off. So what I'm going to do is actually pull this down until I get it right about here where I'm taking off. But I don't want to intersect my bottom piece here. So I want to go a little bit further down, and then not touching it, but now I want to be able to take this up. So I want to be able to find this, and boom. So now I've got this up. And then what I want to do is I'm going to also copy this. And I'm going to bring this out, and then what I'm going to do is also kind of tip this back by 30 degrees. I'm going to get this out here a little bit further. Alright, now I'm going to bring this forward a little bit, and then up. Whoop. Sometimes it's a little tough to grab stuff. I might actually tip this just a little bit more to take out the rest of the Okay, now that we've got all this aligned, so I should be able to take out this extra material. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to highlight these. I've got those two boxes. Boom, now this is done. Now this is going to catch on here to hold my laptop without a lot of material. Now these are kind of high, so what I'm going to do is just bring in another box, and again use this to knock these down. And I'm going to go to 60 on this, bring this over. I'm going to make this about 40 to give myself some working room, and then just kind of take these up. Now I'm just kind of eyeballing this to what I like aesthetically and just kind of moving it over. And there we go. So I want to see a little bit here. Now I'm going to need to bring this up a little bit just to cut off the rest of this material. And I'm going to go here, boom, and then whoops, We missed a little piece on the back side. How did we miss that? I didn't think we missed that. Oh, I didn't get this far enough. So let's go ahead, just for sake of cleanliness, let's just use the align tool, make sure we're good, and boom, we join this. Now we got this knocked off. Now, one of the things we could kind of call this done a little bit, but one of the pieces I'm not really liking is the sharp edges here, which my hand can hit. So what I want to do is I want to kind of clean these up a little bit. So how am I going to clean these up a little bit? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring myself in a bit of a cylinder here, and then what I'm going to do is let me see, I want to think about this a second, how I want to do this. Let's go ahead and twist this cylinder over to 90 degrees. Okay, we got this locked at 90 degrees. Let's make this to 60. So this cylinder is as long as this, because we won't get a measurement off the top of this because we've cut this now down. So what I'm going to do is kind of cheat a little bit and kind of do some measurements. So let's go ahead and pop in 40, because this doesn't have to be utterly perfect. And it's sitting on the bottom, so I'm going to go 45, and then I think that's probably pretty good. I want to build up my sides, and I think that should be probably pretty good. So I'm going to leave this at this. I'm going to just do another Control V, Control C to paste this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this down to because I just want to take off the edges. I'm going to make this, let's say 15. Whoops, and that's not 15. So I'm going to make sure I get this to 15, and then I want to get the height to 40. I want to make this a little bit longer, so I've got a nice hole, so I'm going to make this to 70, and I'm going to turn this into a hole. I'm going to select this also, and then do the align. So I pull these all together, and I've got this now all together, and then I'm going to join these together. Now I've got the whole, whoops, I screwed up. So I'm going to go back here. I forgot to get the vertical, so I need to go back to my align and get the center here. Real-time TV. Alright, so we're going to go ahead, select this once again, knock the hole in it, and we're pretty good. So now I need to half this, so I'm going to bring in a square, and again I'm at roughly about 260, so I'm going to make this 270, so we cut out the ends. And then what I'm going to also do, I must be a little bit longer, so I'm going to go 280, and then that way I can cut off the ends. And then I'm going to go height wise, instead of 20, I'm going to go 60, just because I want to cut it off. And then I want to just slide this in here. And we don't have to be perfect on this one, because we're only going to use this to difference out sort of a chamfer in the base. So I'm going to go ahead, highlight all this, and cut this in half. Now I'm going to turn this into a hole, and I'm going to just kind of, I think that looks pretty good. So I just stretched it out a little bit, just to kind of, a little bit for aesthetics. I want to see how it actually will work. And you see I've now pulled this back in a little bit with the align, and I'm going to kind of bump this out till I get the effect that I'm looking for. And it's a little hard to see with all the numbers, but we can get there, because again, we only want to remove the excess. Now you can kind of see down here we have a little bit of excess material, and so one of the things I want to do is I want to pull this down a little bit. I don't want to pull it down over, I want to pull it down a little bit, and then pull this back a little bit, just like this, because I just want to round the corners of this guy, especially to minimize the impact on my hands as I'm running it across the keyboard. And I'm just going to do a real quick align just to be safe. And then let's go ahead and hit this and join this. And we now have a little bit of chamfer on our corners here to reduce our hand scraping against there. So we've kind of rounded that. Now I'm going to do one last little piece here, and that's going to be, I'm going to bring in another hole. And again, I want to make this rather smooth hole. I'm at 70, so I'm going to make this 35 by 35, so roughly half the diameter. I'm going to spin this around. If I select it again, 90 degrees, and push the shift key to hold it so it locks it. And now I don't want to scale it. I hit the wrong key. So I want to bring this across now and just put this in here. And then let's go ahead to my favorite tool, and let's go ahead and align this, and let's get this in the center. And I think that should be good. I'm going to highlight all this, and boom. I wanted to put the hole in the center just to allow airflow, because we'll have a little bit of gap down here, and I want air to be able to come in here. Since it's an i7, it will definitely be pushing some stuff. The other thing is I want to bring this up, you notice over here, so I don't have problems printing. I'm going to go ahead and bring the 0 to set it on my bed, and there we go. We've got design. So let's head over to the printer. Let's print this out. Now I'm going to print this with supports and a brim because it's rather thin and it's rather large, to kind of hopefully minimize some warping. And we'll meet back at the bench and talk some more about it. So let's head over to the printer. Okay, so we're back here at the bench. We saw how we designed it. We saw it print out. Here it is. I've got a little bit more cleanup to go on it, but it's actually pretty good shape. So the supports came out a little bit tough on this for some reason on this newer PLA. This is a new PLA. I can't remember whose it is. But the supports were a little bit tough to get off, but we got them off. And it seems to work pretty good. So I've got my new Dell Inspiron laptop. Sorry for bumping you guys there. And the idea is it just sits in there like that, and it's held in place. And remember, we curved these, so this is nice. So got nice for the hands here, and works very well. And this is really quick. So because I picked up this laptop, this is kind of interesting. Share a little bit with you. So I picked it up for around $700. It's an i7. And the thing I liked about it is it has expandable memory in the back. And I can put up to 32 gigs of RAM in it. And that's actually pretty good, because what I want to do, or what I need to do for my day job, is I need to install a quantum simulator on here. So that's why I picked it up. I'll have a link below. I thought this was a pretty good deal for the money. And with this stand, I thought it was actually even better, because again, if you wanted to too, I didn't make enough room to close the lid and put it in here because I want to use it with the lid open. But I do want to show a couple different things. I'm going to, in the future, design one with a small fan here, USB fan, probably added. But what I'm going to also do with this is finish it with some faux stone finish. I've done some other episodes on that. You can kind of search my channel and find those. I also have the link below to some of the stone faux finish. So I'll spray that on here so I don't have to have it perfect, and then it'll look more like a piece of desk art. Probably some of the things I would change on this, I might add some pads that are flush with the bottom to give it some more lateral stability. Not really that big, but also maybe to put some cushions on it. But like I say, all in all, it really serves its purpose. I probably will put some felt or something on here, just a little thin piece of felt, and glue it on to the tops here. So when I slide the laptop in here like this, that it actually holds, without scratching the surface. The PLA really doesn't do too much to it, but again, continually removing it and setting it in this cradle you know, again, after some time is obviously going to wear on the finish of the laptop. So putting some felt on there probably be a good thing. And I'll probably do it on the top and bottom, but that's just a simple little addition. I do give myself a little bit of extra room for to do something like that. And that's something to think about in your design. How are you going to modify it? The other piece that I could have done too, and I thought about it, instead of going for the circle look or the oblong look, is to make it you know, turn a square or cube on its end and do it. You could also do that depending upon what kind of aesthetics you want to go after. Now, it does, because it does sit up on here, you know, on this sort of like this. Let's see if I can't get it in here. It does have pretty good airflow. I did poke this other hole out just to make sure, because again, most of the airflow is going to be underneath where it gets hot, so I wanted to make sure. I don't think I'll have a problem with the PLA. The exhaust fans are in the bottom here and here, and if we take a look, I don't want to bump the camera too much. I think I should be good, because again, it's not going that far back. So I should be pretty clear, and again, for this area, I should have some good airflow. So again, some just simple things to think about when you're designing this, but you also saw in real time how I just whipped this off the top of my head, went from the top of my head to a functional part in literally a matter of minutes. And that's one of the things I like about Tinkercad, and I'm sure if you work a lot in Fusion 360 and everything, you can do the same. So I'm not trying to knock that from that aspect, but again, for Joe Average out there, I really kind of want to show how you can take something like Tinkercad and use some primitives to really create some pretty cool pieces that are not only cool, but actually functional. You can actually do something with them in your everyday life that's adds productivity to it. So anyways, hopefully you found this interesting. If you did, hey, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget Swag Shop up over there. Subscribe over there. And hey, if you have any ideas for a build, let me know in the comments below. Always interested to hear what you guys are thinking. Cheers, and see you in the next video.
Please click like below and subscribe to the channel.